Welcome to Riftforge Studio. Today we're going to do a video on decals. As you can see, I've painted up a nice yellow Imperial Fist Rhino door, and shortly we're going to give that a layer of Ard Coat from Citadel, so we have a nice glossy surface for the transfer to adhere to, and then we use Micro Set and Micro Sol to make sure that sticks right to the surface. So I have had a few questions about the yellow. As you can see there, Wraithbone is the base coat, or the undercoat I should say, and then I use Vallejo Gamer Dead White for a highlight, contrast yellow through the airbrush, Vallejo model colour ice yellow, and then sepia just to blend it all back into some shadow. Okay, so now we have a nice Ard Coat gloss, which has taken sort of about 10 minutes or so to dry, and we're going to just adhere that back down with a little bit of blue tack just for the video. And now, as you can see, I've put on a Imperial Fist transfer onto a wet piece of kitchen towel, just on a plastic lid there. That's been there soaking for a couple of minutes. I use actually the Games and Gears double-ended brush for this, so I have one end for the set and one end for the sole, which I find works quite well. It does speed up my transfer application. Okay, so the transfer now just lining up where I want it. Brush has just been dipped in a little bit of Micro Set. I'm just going to place that down roughly in the center of the door just for this demonstration. And the Micro Set will soften the decal and also helps it adhere to the surface. You do have a little bit of working time with it, but not a great deal. If you do get your transfer in the wrong place, then the best thing you can do is probably flood the area with some water, and it should be movable at least for a few seconds, and after that you're basically done, I think. Now once that's gluing down, we move on to the Micro Sol. I always apply these in tandem anyway, just because it's what I'm used to doing, but it's probably not wholly necessary on a flat surface like this, but certainly for space between shoulder pads and that sort of thing, or any uneven surfaces, the Micro Sol helps it sort of just adhere around those irregular shapes, and like sucks the transfer down onto the surface. Just using the brush there to force out a couple of air bubbles that I noticed. Now that needs to be left to dry for quite a while before we do anything to it. I know some people will go back in with varnishes and things after an hour, but I generally leave it overnight, and then you can't go far wrong. So once that's dry, I will get the matte varnish through the airbrush, flatten it all back out, and then that will probably be it. I might bring this door back and do some weathering techniques actually for extra videos, so if that's something you'd like to see, please do let me know in the comments. And also, if you want a video on the yellow recipe, I'm happy to do that as well. I didn't get around to it this time. I just want to show the transfer application because I know a lot of people are fearful of transfers, and there's no reason to be really, because it's actually not very difficult. You just need those two products and a bit of gloss varnish and you're away. And there we go, there's our door, matted back down and ready for some chipping and some weathering. For those wondering, the gloss varnish is important to give it a nice slick surface for the transfer to adhere to, so you don't get any air bubbles or anything else underneath it, which is what causes that frosting effect on transfers when they're not fully adhered to the surface. So thanks very much for watching, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.